information is presented for educational purposes only, is not intended to diagnose or prescribe for any medical or psychological condition, or to prevent, treat, mitigate, or cure such conditions. This information is only presented here for entertainment and educational purposes only.
Good morning and welcome to the show. I'm David DeHaas, your host of the Whole Body Detox Show from Living Waters Wellness Center, where miracles begin by healing from within. Where each week we bring you the health information to help you understand the simple healing secrets you can use to keep your body well, allowing you to live a healthy life so you enjoy every minute you are here on earth. Living Waters Wellness Center was formed after we discovered how to heal my body from multiple symptoms, including allergies, asthma, chronic fatigue, back pain, psoriasis, acne, hives, yeast infections, and finally cancer. After 20 years of trying numerous different treatments, supplements, cleanses, iridology, muscle therapy, acupuncture, chiropractic, acupressure, homeopathy, naturopathy, those experiences let us discover the recipe that became known as the 4 natural laws of healing, combining multiple natural healing modalities to fully detox and cleanse the body, and then allowing the body to take the perfect nutrition to fully restore the body back to its innate health. This became known as the 10-day healing retreat. We've helped thousands of people get their health restored so they can live their life to the fullest extent. There is no reason for you to suffer from anything. Once you learn the 4 natural laws of healing and follow those, it has been my experience and belief that you can heal from anything. You can learn more about that at livingwaterscleanse.com. Click on the link, the video, 4 natural laws of healing.
Good morning, everyone. David DeHaas from Living Waters Wellness Center, where miracles begin by healing from within. If you want to get your health miracle in the new year, you want to come out to Living Waters Wellness Center or check out the website, livingwaterscleanse.com, or call the office at 208-378-9911. There's a video, though, you need to watch. If you want to learn how you're going to get your health back, like I did. Today at 66, I feel I've better than I did when I was 30. You can live your best life by cleaning out the body and detoxifying. We got to start there first with colon hydrotherapy. You can learn all the other amazing tools we have at livingwaterscleanse.com. So today on the show, I have a special guest. Today, I brought to the studio. As many of you have heard over the years, I've talked 5 different episodes about electromagnetic frequency, the problem with cell towers. I've interviewed Dr. Martin Paul. I've interviewed scientists. His name slips me right now. I've talked about the New Hampshire study on EMFs, and I'm also president of Items for Safe Technology. Those of you who've been following me for a while, I've talked about it. It's a big deal. It's not a good deal. And more in fact, I'm actually driving legislation this year in the Idaho legislature to help keep the rights of the county governments, the ability to control these towers, much to the chagrin of big wireless. So anyway, I just not too long ago, I put out the guy that likes to, whenever there's a cool tool out there that can help the body in any way, I like to try it out. So I did that recently, and that's how I met our next guest, Pavel Stuchlik. Lives not too far from us, actually, in another state, but talking to your brother and introduced you, and you guys do a lot of cool things. I had no idea. I just wanted to buy the gizmo that helps mitigate the damage from electromagnetic frequencies. So Pavel, go ahead, tell the audience a little bit about yourself and the world that you play in, your company, and some of those gifts. And we'll talk about this unique device I bought.
Yes, thank you so much. And we've been on a mission to bring truth to the world, to bring health and happiness and unity, because we live in this dispersed world of misinformation based on different companies. And so I've been an avid seeker of truth since very young age. I've been on this journey through self-transformation in the past 15 years. And I basically traveled the world, learned from some of the most sought out leaders, gurus, trainers, shamans. I kid you not, I have literally put myself through some of the most rigorous experiences, such as samurai camp in Japan. I've done 4 times 10 days in complete darkness with no food in the middle of Thailand. I spent a month with the psychics in Brazil. And essentially all of this was this voice inside of my head. Is this it? Is this life to be packaged into a certain societal norm? And essentially the answer was no. And so I come from depression, anxiety. I had a chronic fatigue, Epstein-Barr, suicidal thoughts. So my whole life I've struggled so much so that I wanted to heal myself. This journey led me on this whole path to basically help others realize the same without all the pain, without all of the, crazy travels that I had to get on. And essentially, long story short, it wasn't until 7 years ago, I went into the dark room for the first time that my light bulb turned on, so to speak. And it was day 7 when I lost it. I started crying and purging, and for the first time in my life, I have touched myself for who I am, not for who I am being, what I'm being told. And in that moment, I was burned out. I used to open Orange Theory fitness locations all over the country. I had 7 different regions. And as an entrepreneur, I just wanted peace. And what I got out of it was this massive insight to start, Noah Aeon. Noah means movement. Aeon is all or none. It symbolizes duality. And I used to play ping pong my whole life, highs and lows and good days and bad days. And I was so fed up with this that I created this path to come into center, to come into harmony, health and happiness. And so I walked out of the cave. I start selling out basically my Orange Theories. I wanted to take all of this knowledge and move myself into service. And so what you see today with Noah Aeon, we've got courses, we've got live events, we do 150 in-person events from retreats, workshops, immersive experiences per year, as well as we have a conscious product offering, which I found to actually work, that has science and that is not just pushing things because we actually want to make a difference. And so that's a little bit of the story.
Wow. I can't imagine 10 days in a cave, no light. So, and no food, man.
Correct.
So what, I don't know if you can even, can a person, so describe that for us. What was that like? I mean, you of course briefly did, but thought comes to mind. I mean, obviously you could just sleep. That's going to last so long, right? Maybe 10, 12 hours. And then the next thing you're still in the dark and can you see your hands? I mean, how dark was it? Did you have a little bit of light?
Oh, no, you see zero. The entire time it's completely pitch black. And essentially, from the physiological level,
Right.
We always do blood work before and after. And, 90% of the attendees come with parasites, with fungi, with, some form of candida. And so by the end of it, you are literally free and clear of all of that. Also, imagine, when do we get to not see any blue lights, right, in life in general? So imagine that just for your eyesight, for example, you literally see like a little baby when you come out. You see every detail on your hair, skin. All the colors are so much brighter. It's a 360, health increase just from that. And, honestly, the hardest part is your mind, is your emotions, because you have nothing but time to think. And this actually was good and bad, right? So if you have a really overreactive mind, it can be a bitch, pardon my language, because it's, imagine that you constantly are receiving thoughts of, what did you do right? What did you do wrong? And this constant monkey brain is super activated. And what I did to kind of reverse that, I first 4 days I spent looking back in my life, every 7 years, whatever I could remember. And then I start thinking about, who have I hurt? What were those decisions that I was proud of versus I would change? So that helped me have this mirror, look at my life. And then the other 4 days I spent on projecting into future. So I, for the first time, unhooked from this life, and I actually could hear my thoughts. What is my passion? What is my purpose? What is the legacy I want to, leave behind? And so, my passion became music. So I learned how to produce in solfeggio frequencies on a modern beat. And that's what we do in our events. We do these conscious, experiences.
Solfeggio frequencies?
Yeah, solfeggio. So there's a scale of different, frequencies.
Right.
It's something we can touch up later, because 440 hertz is actually distorting to our brain. And it's been, I think purposely designed. It was set by the Rockefeller Foundation in the 1920s to make the standard for radio, for TV, for, anything sound-based. And even if you just go a little bit off, like 432 hertz, that's kind of been like the earth, the closer to God, so to speak, frequency, you are already, having a positive benefits. And so music, is so important, and always have in my life. So I, follow that passion. My purpose became, how do I give this information away? So that's the retreats and workshops and lectures. And legacy was, how do we make means with doing good in the world, so I don't have to be unhappy with, doing things just for money, right? So huge breakthrough, huge healing process. And now I'm going on a fifth time this upcoming March.
Wow. So how okay, you're in there. Do you drink water?
Yeah, so there's water.
So there's water. Then how do you get up to see where to pee, or what's that look like?
So you've got a day to adjust, or a few hours before the lights are off. Imagine it's like a temple. It's in the Mantak Chia Tao Garden, a retreat center. He does these dark rooms as well. This one is a bit different. It's with a lady called Jas Muheen, who is a breatharian. She's solely nourished by prana, and that's like a whole subject itself.
Right.
And essentially, it's like a square building. So you've got a meditation room. It's about 20 of us, and then everybody has their little rooms around the perimeter. And then you've got balloons in the space, so when you're getting too close to walls, and you kind of use your hands to navigate you. But your psychic abilities or your other senses, they get so heightened that you just know. By the time it's day 5, you literally know how to find your mat. It just happens without you even thinking about it.
That's fascinating. So I do meditate, and started meditating in 2017 when I found Dr. Joe Dispenza. For the first time, I found a meditation method that worked for me, and I learned heart coherence and became a heart math coach, and dived down into that after reading Heart Math, after I heard Dr. Joe talk about it, and then read Lynn Taggart's books and all these things, and went down that. And I got to say, it does really help me. We teach it on the retreat, actually, the heart math coherence. So, and I've been to a few of Dr. Joe's retreats as well. Fascinating, though, that you say the parasites and the yeast candida. How does that exit with no physical prompting, no colonics, just what's happening there?
Well, so I actually, before and after, I do colonics. So what's beautiful is that there is an amazing facility that has, ozone IV. They do TEMPAS. There's a collation. There's a lot of other services you can do before and after. So I always try to go as clean as possible. I do a detox protocol, even before you get there, because then you miss out on the benefits. Because if you're not detoxed, then the first 3-4 days, you're just, smell bad. You have a headache, and it can be quite damaging to the group, especially when you're closed in, one space. There's a very proper detox prior to it, but most people, they either don't do it well, or we just are so, intoxicated from just our environment and food that it takes some time. Now,
What's the
when you
people that blow out of it within 3 or 4 days?
I would say about 10-20% that do not finish. A lot of people are repeats, or I always say, like, I don't really suggest this to somebody that has never done any sorts of practices before. Like, you want to have some foundation. Maybe it's Vipassana, maybe it's some meditation practice, because if you don't have the right tools how to navigate kind of the dark forces, right, that you will have to face there, it could be, traumatic experience. And so definitely this is kind of like a next level to your spiritual evolution,
this
so
would be
to
like
speak.
a master's program is what you're saying. You got the
Yeah.
high school, you got college, you got your master's degree, and so forth. Yeah, I get it. So you say there's 10 or 20 of you in this cave, but there's different rooms, but you're never talking to anyone. Everyone's all in their own little area, right?
So you have the option to have a roommate. So there is a light talk, like, are you still there? You're alive? Yes, I'm here. Some people do a complete vow of silence the whole time.
Right.
And then generally you start with 5 meditations a day. And then every day she takes one out until the last 2 or 3 days, there's basically complete silence. So you kind of graduate through the process. So that way it's not so hard on your system or really on your mind. Funny story, like just the amount of emotional attachments we have to food. I think it was like day 3, I start dreaming of lamb chops everywhere. And I don't even eat that much meat, but I like could not get rid of these lamb chops following me whenever I walked.
The body says, feed me.
That hungry bird inside of us, the Labrador brain.
Right. Wow. That's absolutely fascinating. My nephew went to Thailand, and he got adopted by some monks, and he became a monk for a while. And he did, I don't know exactly what he did. He's never totally shared with me, but he did, the vow of silence and did some of that stuff. So definitely changed him for sure. I did notice that. Okay. So that you got started there, and you sold your Orange Theory, and now today you have this company, and one of the tools, like we talked about, are these amazing devices that got a lot of clinical studies behind them. and that help. I guess I'll let you explain what they do exactly. I do know I've got one here, right here in my room on my desk. I got this, see that there. So this is called the Q Shield. What's this one particularly called?
Yeah, Key Shield.
Q Shield. So I do know my IT guy was at our house the other day, and we have one up there as well. And he went, "Wow, what's this? This is different. This feels really good. What is this?"
Yes. Well, so, here's the deal. So I've been on this journey, right, through self-transformation. And essentially, I came to a conclusion that it's actually way more simple than we make it to be. And we operate in these three levels. There's the me, the individual consciousness. That's your
Right.
physical body, your health, then your mental body, your mental health, your thoughts, your emotional body, your traumas, your feelings of how you feel,
Right.
and then your spiritual body, which is the inner gifts, right? The pulling from this limitless source of information that we all, have access to. Now, when I kind of start healing myself, right, and figuring out these things, then I moved into the we, the collective consciousness, and I break that down into, relationships, which is, who are you with? What is the quality of them? Do you reflect the best of one another? And then the other part of the we is the environment. Now, when I start, getting healthier and healthier, I use this technology of gluten, right? Like no matter who you are, gluten causes inflammation in your body, but you don't even know how you feel until, let's say you eliminate it for 10 days. Now, after 10 days of eliminating gluten, let's say you eat pizza, right? On day 11, you're
Right.
gonna most likely go to sleep, feel quite heavy. And essentially, that's the same thing with other sources. So when it comes to environment, right, it's the water we drink, the food that we eat, the air that we breathe, but it's also the electromagnetic frequencies that we are being exposed to. Then I moved into, what are the frequencies we're being exposed to? Now, electromagnetic frequencies are invisible, and it causes like a second layer of issue because we don't see how it's impacting us on the inside, from the outside. So the first experience I've had, and just so you understand like how I even got to this, I never thought that I was sensitive to electromagnetic frequencies until I moved to Houston. And for the first time in my life, I lived in, spot on downtown, surrounded by so many different, towers. Now, this was during the same time that 5Gs were rolled out. And essentially, I never really fully believed in it, right? Like, it was like, okay, I get it, like, understand it, but like, if you Google are EMFs harmful, right, it tells you there's no scientific evidence that they are, but yet there's over 6,000 studies proving it's detrimental to our health. But what are these studies, right? Does it come from telecommunication companies or does it come from an actual independent labs? So anyway, it led me on this rabbit hole because I started feeling anxious. I couldn't sleep. I had mild depression, and I was already so healthy. I followed, all of the different regimens. And so I started looking into this. And what I came to a conclusion is that I'm not electro-hypersensitive, which is actually a medical term. And about 3% of the population are electro-hypersensitive. And these are people that cannot use cell phones. They are, they get extreme fatigue, pain. It comes in many different ways. Now, then there is about 35% of the world that are sensitive, lightly, and this could be, mild depression. This could be anxiousness, can't sleep. And that's where I, fall under. So the rest of the population, just like gluten, we are all sensitive to it, but we might not feel it, right now. It might accumulate, 5-10 years from now, in specifically in our DNA. I think that's where we see the most, changes. And so I went on a hunt to figure out, what is this? How do I mitigate this? I bought every single product on the market and I started learning about, the differences. Now, majority of the products are functioning on a base of harmonization, which doesn't really do much necessarily directly to EMFs. But I came to this study by Greek doctor that created something called depolarization. Now, what depolarization is, it essentially renaturalizes the harmful EMF around you and takes it and brings it back to, more closer to the Earth's, frequency, if we make it as an analogy. And that's essentially what this key technology does. It's the only technology on the market that actually has this, that has all these studies to prove this. And essentially, when I bought it, I instantly start sleeping better. I had a HRV tracker, so I tracked it the first 30 days, and so my heart rate variability went up, my deep sleep went up, and I was like, "Holy moly! Like this is incredible!" Because instead of being against technology, it's like, how do we live with technology? And this was the answer to me.
You're right. So, and just for the audience out there, our involvement with these EMFs, my good friend Hank lives in Eagle, Idaho, and the tower was put in 2019, turned on April 15th, 2020. Within 3 days of it turning on, even though it's 2,000 feet from his home, he went in AFib for the first time, went to the hospital, got the paddles, regulated his heart, went back home. A couple days later, AFib again. And after the third time, he goes, "Wow, what's going on?" And he looked at that tower and he goes, "Did they turn that tower on?" And so he called Idaho Power, and sure enough, they turned the tower on. So since that time, what he found was that every time he got in the crosshairs of a couple towers, he started pinning it with his tracking software that he uses for hunting, he'd go into AFib. So he correlated this, and just recently, Robert Kennedy's group, the Children's Health Defense Fund, decided to take his case, and they're suing the tower companies, Verizon, AT&T, and DirecTV is also on this tower, and they told them to shut it off under the accommodations under the American Disabilities Act. So this is the first of its kind lawsuit. So in other words, there needs to be accommodations met for those people, the 35%, as you mentioned, who are electromagnetic sensitive. I get a letter, an email about once every couple of days from a lady downtown Boise. You'd think she's insane, and I know she's not. But she's getting, I mean, she can tell the days the power's really high. No one regulates the power. No one goes out and monitors these things. We've taken our devices, and the insanity is that although at minus 85 dB, you can get a call and text, they're putting these down at minus 36. I mean, it's tens of thousands of times higher in power than what it needs, and it's just so they can carry a lot more data. So we've really put ourselves in a pickle. We're getting relied upon these cell phones in so many different ways. So we definitely need devices like this. And like you say, some of us know it, some of us don't, but someday we will know it. It'll either be our brains not working properly, or we'll have a cancer tumor. Like Hank, it killed all of his bees. His beehive was perfect. 15 days early, he had looked at his bees. They're great. They're doing fine. And when he went out there after that third AFib incident, he goes, "I wonder how my bees are doing." They're dead. Bees gone.
This is exactly why it needs to get out, this information. So by the way, something that everybody can search, there's a website called antennasearch.com,
right,
and you can see how many towers are around you. For the record, New York is at like 7,700. It's insane in such a small square footage.
7,700 in a 3-mile radius.
7,700, and Houston was like 2,700 when I was there, but it was like nothing compared to these dense cities like San Francisco, New York, and beyond. Now, what's also interesting that I think doesn't get spoken enough is dirty electricity, because most of our wires are not grounded properly. And then one of the biggest ones too is smart meters. People don't realize this, but we sleep with smart meters sometimes, a few feet away from our bed. And so this is again our right. You can request analog meter. You just have to, speak to your electric company. But there is literally thousands of studies from around the world that have massive, smart meter issues. The last thing I will talk about this is Chicago Tribune did this kind of like a inspection, so to speak, a few years ago. And this was, they were doing an inspection on cell phones. They wanted to see, what are our cell phones? What is the radiation and what is the truth behind it, right? And so 9 out of 10 cell phones were over the limit significantly. And the craziest part, this was 2007 iPhones. This was, Galaxy, Samsung that were, from 2000s, way before 5G. And so what that tells us, basically, the standards have been, set up since the 90s. They have not been changed.
Right.
And it's been set up based on Motorola, where we have like a 10 inches in between the cell phone and our belt. And even in that case and time, it was still, over the limits.
Yeah, on these little iPhones, it's 3,300,000 microwave watts per square meter. I just found out yesterday, I took my little meter and I thought, my office back here, for some reason, I thought, what is it that I've got a mobile home park next to me? I thought, well, maybe it's all the Wi-Fi in the mobile, because there's like 20 Wi-Fis that come into my building here. And so I took the meter and I went back there, and my Wi-Fi, I use it sparingly, and I turned it, I was off, but I'm still getting a lot of pulsation. I go, what the heck? Come to find out.
Lots to share here. Brought on Pavel Stuchlik of Noah Aeon. Talk about their amazing coherence energy devices to make your life more coherent around the electromagnetic frequencies. We've got these devices we've had for about 2 months, and immediately people have noticed a difference. The coherence and frequency around our office and our home is completely changed. Big game changer, which was why I brought him on. We'll have information on our website, also in the show notes over the podcast, Whole Body Detox Show. And also, don't forget, it's time to book for your 10-day healing retreat. Our cleanse we just finished in January was amazing, and you can get your health miracle. Go to the website, livingwaterscleanse.com, click on the link, the 4 natural laws of healing, or call the office at 208-378-9911. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Once in a lifetime, a healing tool comes across your path that can really change the ability for the body to heal naturally and quickly. We have found such a tool, and it has changed the way my family lives and how our clients at Living Waters are helping to heal their body. It's called phototherapy, and phototherapy is the ability of your body using waves of light to turn on your body's ability to make its own stem cells. No surgeries, just simply a little Band-Aid sized patch that can activate your body to make stem cells. As you age, you're producing less and less stem cells, and by age 60, you're making none. So when it comes to healing and repairing, it is a long, long process. We can now speed that process up by using phototherapy. Go over to stemcellpatch.net and watch the videos there. And go ahead and try these patches for a few months. These patches have helped so many of our clients reverse pain, help speed up the healing, sleep better, and on and on. You'll see some of the testimonials over there. It's an amazing little tool that you should be using right now. For less than the cost of a cup of coffee per day, you can now be increasing your body's ability to make stem cells on its own. Stemcellpatch.net, or call the office at 208-378-9911.
You can't treat the body and heal it a piece at a time. You have to treat the whole body naturally. That's why Living Waters Wellness Center 10-day healing retreat is so successful in helping what I call the incurables back to wellness. Here's what a few clients had to say about their experience at Living Waters Wellness Center.
For over a year, I've been dealing with gas pains, stomach pains that have been waking me up in the middle of the night, so I never get a full night's rest. And last night, after my first colonics, I slept through the entire night without any stomach pain or any kind of issues.
I suffered from migraine headaches for 12 years, once a month. And since I did the 10-day retreat at Living Waters Wellness Center 8 years ago, I have not even had a migraine. I've not even had a headache.
I had back pain on my left side for about 25 years. After the 10-day healing retreat, the pain is completely gone.
To learn more about the 10-day healing retreat, go to healingtheincurables.com or call the office at 208-378-9911. That's 208-378-9911. The preceding examples may not be typical of your experience and may not be right for you. Seek the opinion of a qualified healthcare professional before determining if cleansing is right for you.
Welcome back to the Whole Body Detox Show. I'm your host, David DeHaasa, Living Waters Wellness Center, where miracles begin by healing from within. My friends, it's not too late. You too can get your miracle this year. Start the year fresh, reboot. We just finished a retreat. So cool to see all these people change. Skin's going from gray to pink, brain power coming back, energy coming back, joint pain disappearing. So fun to see the gut issues go away as well. You too can get all that. Go to the website, livingwaterscleanse.com. Click on the link, the 4 natural laws of healing, and watch that webinar and learn how you too can get your health miracle.
miracle. We've been talking today with Pavel Stuchlik of Noah Aeon about a special device that helps make your home and business more coherent from the electromagnetic frequencies. We'll put all the information in the show notes at the podcast, Whole Body Detox Show, and we'll have it on our website. Or call the office at 208-378-9911. Now back to the show. The modem from Sparklight is freaking nuts constantly. It's like, I went 25 feet away and that thing is pulsing so freaking high. So I called them up and I says, do you have a way to turn this off? She says, it's turned off. I says, no, it's not. This thing's pulsing. This thing's cranking it. I got a meter. I can prove it to you. No, it's off. And I said, no, it's not. I want a new modem. I want it without. And then here's the problem. So I have the way my system's set up, I need a static IP. I don't know if they've got a modem that will do that for me. So anyway, it's a little thing we got to figure out, but I finally discovered why I'm getting bombarded. And I didn't know it had a Wi-Fi in that modem. I didn't need another Wi-Fi.
Well, see, and that's the craziest part, right? So first of all, we had this violates our human rights. Like when 5G was rolled out, there was no opt-in or out, right? And I know you do amazing work when it comes to that. The other thing is, imagine all these satellites that are being carpeted around Earth that are supposed to be 40,000 satellites by 2030. Now there is, I think 4,400 right now, Starlink, and then I think Amazon is also, keeping up with this. Now, where do we go? Literally, unless you're in North Pole or South Pole, you are going to be radiated. And so this is, why, well, first of all, if we just used it properly, this is what the inventor of the key technology says, is our 5G towers could be 70% less harmful if they just set it up right and spend a little bit more money to don't make it so aggressive. And so it's like, that's kind of his mission, is like, how do we not even use these products? How do we just set it up right from the get-go? Because that's the power we have, with today's technology. What's also interesting is that when you are living in an apartment, in a house, right, you're constantly getting bombarded by all of these different frequencies. So even if you turn it off on your own, it doesn't really do much. And this is why, the key technologies are so powerful, because it will take that and re-naturalize that. Now, if you are wondering, right, what do I do today to mitigate? I always say distance is the key. So if you have a cell phone, make sure that you never have it on your ear. My father-in-law had a brain tumor from overuse of his cell phone. By the way, this is in our family. And what we do is you always put it on speaker, right? Have it further away from your body. And ideally, you use, you have a cord headphones. Bluetooth is, something you don't want to have inside of your brain. So do not use Bluetooth.
Say that again
in general.
10 times so I should share this with my son, who thinks that Bluetooth is no big deal. He puts those dang things in his ears. And I see everyone walking around with them in their ears. I tell everyone, get that out of there.
Here's the thing though, when you have Bluetooth headphones for extended period of time, and I know this from planes, your head literally starts pounding after about 2-3 hours of using it. And so no matter sensitive or not sensitive, this imagine that you're inside of your own microwave, basically, right. And this is for your brain. And by the way, some crazy fact. So telecommunication companies, the studies, they make them based on 220-pound men that are, over 6.5 feet tall. And their skull is so much bigger, right? So the amount of effect that they have is, minimal.
Yeah, they measured heat, right?
Yes, exactly. And also what's crazy is that, for example, our children, right? There's no safety limit when it comes to kids because of their skull is so much weaker. And so that's why even with our kids, right? We do not give them iPads. If we do have to, if we travel, we have a cover. We use a cover to keep the frequencies in. And so, for example, baby monitors, so many people use baby monitors and they emit crazy amounts of EMF. And that also goes for electric cars. If you're sitting in your Tesla or whatever you're using while it's being charged, massive amount of radiation is happening. And it happens right by the actual charging dock, which is usually where our kids would sleep, right? Or where they are sitting. So again, we want to protect the children.
My consultant in California had a Prius, and he was affected by this. He got to digging into it. Now he's a big activist in this movement, and he's helped us out a lot. But he went and decided to measure what the milliwatts were coming off of those batteries in that Prius. He had 2 Priuses. His daughter sat in the back of that Prius. He sold the Priuses. It was an insane amount of dirty electricity. I had a client come here. She had so many things going on, but one of them started talking about this, and she had a brand new fancy $100,000 Ford truck. Took the meter out there. I mean, it was just bombarded. It's like you put yourself in a tube. You're being microwaved the whole time you're driving. So we went through, we started turning off one by one. I think there was 5 flipping antennas. It was insane how much stuff was in that car. So if you got all you guys, as new cars, you don't need Wi-Fi in your flipping car. You can go into the settings, the Bluetooth, the Wi-Fi, all that stuff. Turn it off. You'll be more refreshed when you get done with the end of your. Say you went on a 2-hour drive, you're not going to be as tired because you're getting bombarded. There's so many ways of getting bombarded, but that's one you can easily take care of.
Yeah, and imagine smart cities, right? So where we're moving as a population it's one of the dumbest decisions for our health that you can ever have.
Insanity.
And imagine all of our smart appliances, all of this stuff. Like, why do we need, Wi-Fi to measure your freaking temperature in your, like,
or Bluetooth
literally
for babies' diapers? How insane is that? Oh, your baby's wet. Oh, my phone. It's insane.
It's ridiculous. This is why, like, when you sleep, turn off the Wi-Fi. If you have smart appliances, turn that off. If you're still using microwave, don't ever use it, because we've known since 60s that it's bad for food, bad for your health, in general.
It makes water poison. I mean, it does. It makes water poison. It changes your blood chemistry. Bam. And I had to see it several times, be told several times by some doctors. And the last one was Dr. Hal Huggins. He showed me the picture of blood chemistry, even with water. And I go, okay, I super get it now. And that microwave has been gone for over 20 years. So I tell all my clients that come here, I always ask the question, do you microwave? And they say, yes. I say, do you have a gun? And they say, most of them say yes. If they don't, I say, go borrow one, take it to the desert, shoot it full of holes, or you can cut off the cord and then use it as a Faraday cage for store your hard drives in. That's the only 2 good uses. Target practice.
It's a weapon. Like that's microwave it's
My dad's 90, and I looked the other day, and he's microwaving, reheating his coffee. I go, Dad, what are you doing? And rather than making new coffee, he just takes the yesterday's, puts it in the microwave. And so I got the meter out, and that meter, I walked back 15 feet. That flipping microwave, worst thing ever. It was emitting all the way back 15 feet at 3,300,000 microwatts per square meter. Insanity, the amount of. I said, Dad, this is blowing up your brain.
Yeah, and if you visualize this, right? So this is inside, right next to a microwave, right? But
Right.
now let's think about an environment that you live in. You're
Right.
literally inside of a greater microwave because of everything radiating, around you, or being in a Tesla, right? Like in a car, you're
Right.
inside of a microwave. And I think this technology hopefully will open up the mind to understand that, and what you create in your environment impacts so heavily that physical, mental, emotional self. And if you don't feel well, if you don't sleep well, if there is big piece of it can be the electromagnetic frequencies, especially after you've cleared up your diet and you cleared up your exercise and beyond.
Hank actually went out and put all this stuff in his house. And by the way, guys, Idahoans for FOR safe technology.org. You can see Hank's story. You can see the dead bees. I think he's also did some videos on what he's done inside his house, which has helped knock it down. He's tinted his windows. He's used special shield paint, cost him a lot of money, but he's still got problems. And now it's affected his little daughter. Her heart rate goes from 80 beats to 130 when she comes in the house and she takes him out in the desert 20 minutes away, boom, comes down, comes back in the house. Big problem. So guys, this is really important to assess. If you got kids and you care about them at all, you need to assess. These meters are fairly expensive, you can get, but Idahoans for FOR safe technology.org. And you guys can see the pictures and the video, and he tells a story and all kinds of information there, including this antenna search link as well. So
Yeah,
So
and also, by the way, what we did it's like a 60-minute webinar, EMF webinar. It's all free, and
awesome.
we can add it into the comment. But basically, we take people exactly through the research that we did before we believed in this. And essentially,
awesome.
it just gives you all of the power, all of the knowledge, anything to do today to empower yourself so you can at least, mitigate as much as possible if you don't have the means to fully, upgrade your home. And if you do have the means, there's always obviously ways to do it. We constantly help people, even if they don't have the right funding, because we want them to feel good. And some people that are electro-hypersensitive, they literally call us back, stating that when they call us earlier, they couldn't be on the phone talking to us. They have the key device with them, and they're able to get back on a phone, which they couldn't do sometimes for years.
Wow. So just even having this little device here, I know you guys got some different models. I bought all your stuff, the big humongous one. That covers the whole building, as well as my whole house. So I'm covered multiple ways now, but we're definitely noticing a difference. So I'll put that in the show notes, guys. So if you're listening to the radio show or here on the podcast, it'll be in the show notes, wholebodydetoxshow.com. If you're on the radio on KIDO Talk Radio, it'll be on the show notes at Whole Body Detox Show. And of course, links on our website, livingwaterscleanse.com. But what's the name of the video? Where's that link at? Is that something you can give out?
It's on our website. So it's Noaaon, NOAAON.com. And then it's under Waveguard. And then there's a free EMF webinar, and that you can, click on. And there's also one thing that we dedicated our time to is we give 15-minute consultations to people. And what we call it our empowerment team, what they do is they're going to ask you, what's the size of your home? Where do you work? What type of car you have? And then they will walk you through step by step what to do. So that way, for example, they will teach you how to turn off the 5G on your phone. They will show you how to get analog smart meters or analog meter instead of smart meter. So all of this, we're giving this away so that way people have at least the ammunition to empower themselves.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Really appreciate you doing that, because there's so many people affected. And as you know, our country's pretty divided. And I've been advocating, it's not because we're divided, it's just because our brains aren't thinking properly. From the chemicals in the foods to the electromagnetic frequencies, we don't have the clarity of thinking at all. We've been we're basically being manipulated into a bunch of bots. And but I've seen people, once they get their head clear from the chemicals in food, for example, clean out their body, clean out their gut, do the colon hydrotherapy to do that, and then all of a sudden it's like their eyes will just go boink. It's like, oh wow, I had no idea. That was a bad relationship. I shouldn't be in that relationship. And then all the things around them start shifting. And that's where we have to get to. And I think what you're doing and providing this information, providing these tools is very powerful. So can you explain a little bit what's happening here? What's in this? Is it a bunch of copper wire? Is there some liquid? What's the story here? What's in this thing that makes it so powerful?
Yes. So some people get it confused that it's the copper, which, by the way, has been proven, I think, since 70s, that it can ground you. It has a lot of beautiful benefits itself, but that's an addition. So that is not how it actually works.
Okay.
What's inside of the key device is something called key liquid. And so this is the proprietary invention that Hagen Thiers designed. By the way, he was the inventor of the year in 2022 in the European Union, because how groundbreaking this technology actually is. And essentially, this liquid has a full spectrum lighting inside of it, which essentially it takes the liquid to create this field around you that essentially, it works on an electromagnetic field that then takes the harmful, EMFs and then renaturalizes it or depolarizes it into the natural state of what, we're used to. Now, what's amazing is it doesn't require electricity because a lot of devices I found, to use more outlets, to use more power, and some of them actually have radiation inside of them, against radiation. It wasn't really the right path, for me. So this one works instantly. It works anywhere. And the difference between like the Key Shield or the Key Max is the amount of the liquid that's inside of it, because more liquid, further and grander scale of the space it can cover. So like the key max, it's a 328 feet, so it covers a 20-store building or really large home. And essentially, it's charged inside of this chamber. And this is also, by the way, why we really want to make it more accessible and affordable. But because of the amount of research, science, and chamber activation, it just costs the factory a lot of money to be able to charge this right. And so essentially, we're working on it with scaling to make it more accessible. The inventor is already working on something called Key Me, which is just individual device, which you just put in your pocket, or your backpack, and you can just walk with it, anywhere you go. I take my key shield on every plane, every flight. It's got, the liquid is not big enough where it clears TSA. They just will ask you, what is this? And I always just say I'm electro-hypersensitive, and this helps with regulating, your heart rate variability.
Right? This one?
Yep. The small one. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And this one also, it fits into a cup holder. So if you do have an electric car, if you do have a smart cars, or you're just spending a lot of time in a car, I just have one always in a cup holder. And so it really, it's an environmental part. One thing that's also amazing, and this is kind of my secret goal that is not that secret, I would love to bring the big ones into grocery stores, because it's been proven it works the same way for plants, for animals, and for water. So it actually it reactivates your water molecules. And this is so interesting because,
Wow.
to me, right, if I was a grocery store, imagine that you can say that, we have a radiation-free, groceries, right? Or activated water, because think about the amount of radiation just food alone goes through to get to your home.
Yeah. So you can basically restructure the vibrational energy in all those plants, all those vegetables and fruits.
Yeah, by the way, I sometimes put food, water, like on top of the bigger one, on top of the key home, and because it's right next to it, right? It will reach.
That's fascinating. So you're basically creating this field, invisible field, that's creating a shield for you, a new vortex of energy that basically takes the incoherent energy from the towers. It's disruptive. It's disrupting your brain, disrupting your cells, and it's helping it so you're more. Even though our bodies were 70%, 80% water, except for those who are dehydrated. Drink your water, folks, and that's going to make that more coherent for your whole body. Is that good?
You got it.
Way to rephrase that.
100%. And by the way, also what's interesting, like Dr. Joe Dispenza work, right? Or even if you look at the Japanese scientists, that did all of the initial informational studies on what water molecule does, right? It works the same way inside of our body. And so, power of prayer, power of intention, right? That's all part of it. But now you have something that can naturally, do it.
Fascinating. That's absolutely fascinating. Yeah, you know what? We're so used to, seeing physical proof, but what's kind of funny about that is that we've been growing up with radio waves for years and years and television waves, and we don't think, and all that stuff. And of course, cell phones now, when we bring out new devices, we still get like, now, how does that work? I have a little faith at what this technology does. So you said there was 25 clinical trials on this product. So what did they do? Can you talk about any of those and just some of the benefits and what they noticed?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's actually 29, but 4 of them, they cannot be published because it would reverse engineer, the inventor's work. Yep. So that's why. So there's 29. There's actually more in a process. I think the most interesting one is a study about wound healing. And so essentially, people were exposed to no EMF with a wound, which generally repairs within 24 hours. Now, with the exposure of EMF, it takes 3 to 5 days, depending on your body's ability. And if you have a key shield, it's 90% to what it is without any EMFs. So it's within a day. So it's very much same as as completely being out of it. The only reason why it's up to 90% of the strength of the field as well is because of the fact that we wouldn't be able to use Wi-Fi cell phones, but it mirrors exactly essentially what the product does. And so if you have a wound healing, if you have any forms of DNA issues, it has been proven that it helps you mitigate that or accelerate your healing. There's a lot of studies around theta, brain frequencies, and just calm state, deeper sleep when it comes to, especially at night, because I think where people see this the most is while we're sleeping, right? If we don't have a, natural state, and, this also goes into grounding, right? Like how important having some form of grounding mat or earth in your lifestyle, because that helps also,
Right.
absorb these, negative frequencies. So there's a beautiful studies on that.
Just to kind of clarify, grounding. So we teach people here on a retreat, take the shoes off and socks off, go out, put your feet in the dirt, the grass. You'll notice a different feeling in your body. So what he's talking about grounding, that's what we're talking about. And there are different products out there. There's grounding sheets, etc. Go ahead, where you take off from there.
Yeah, and I think also for those that really want to understand the science, we'll send a link where we have all of the studies linked in one place.
Oh.
I honestly, I am not the biggest science guy when it comes to the analytical mind. For me, I'm the experienced person that can help others find it that way. So I don't want to cross any of
this
the.
This device has only been out what, 2 or 3 years? How long has this device been around?
Yeah, this is the fourth year.
4th year, okay.
It's like creating the environment, right, that works for you, that empowers you, that strengthens you. And this was, part of my journey, right? It was, if you go to our house, I mean, we've got, charged water, we've got vitamin C glutathione shower, we've got, we have a
vitamin C shower.
Yes.
What's that?
We load vitamins, minerals into this little tube. It's this product you can attach to a shower because, I think it's like 1 to 2 liters a day we absorb through, bathtub or showers. So it's an amazing way to, detox, right? And to have high antioxidants through your skin.
Goodness. You gotta share that with me. I got another.
I will. I'm gonna send you. I have a whole list worked up that has everything from grounding to we use a probiotic air filter that you can breathe your probiotics through through your home.
Okay.
We've got NASA studied plants at house that things like snake plants, for example, that are amazing when it comes to refreshing your air and absorbing the pollutants. We have a quantum frequency that radiates in the house. We have completely no digital footprint in our bedroom. So our bedroom is like the oasis where we're fully shielded from all of this. We use a bed that has a grounding pad on it. So while we're sleeping, we're grounded. And yeah, I mean, I could go, this could go wild. I mean, some of the stuff are definitely not usual, but my question always is, right? Let's say that you wake up in the morning and you have a moldy house, you've got, poor quality water, your food sources are full of MSGs. Now, you may wake up with 100%, let's say, willpower, right, and energy. But if you take all of this down, you might be operating with 30% of your potential. And so for me, it's like, how do I create 100% potential, from the minute I wake up? So that way, this is our life.
That's a good point. That's great. That's great words. We're operating at about 30%, maybe less of our potential because of the chaotic EMFs and the pollutants, the chemicals, microwaving our food, drinking out of aluminum cans. I mean, the sources are endless, it seems. It's almost overwhelming. But guys, listen, Wendy and I went on this journey in 1991. That's when our road diverged. And it was a couple steps forward and a step back. Getting off the diet soda back in the early 90s was, it took my wife, I had to give her some bunch of data so she could read it and say, look, this is not good for your brain. So it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but you got to just keep plodding forward and be learning and be open to the possibilities, because we are not, I just talk about, and I don't get into politics here, but the Democratic Party is not the same Democratic Party that it was in the 60s and 70s. And it's just because it's changed because of, I truly believe it's because of thinking. We are not thinking clearly. And that can be said of the Republican Party too. There's just crazy stuff going on in this world. This wouldn't happen 40 years ago. And I think a lot of it's because of just the chaotic behavior of the food toxicity, the electromagnetic sensitivity. All this stuff coming at us. It's a wonder we live at all. So you want to live your best life, guys. These are just some of the tools you need to be putting in your toolbox, changing your home environment. You gave them a lot of free stuff today. What else do you want to share with them that's beneficial for them?
Well, so I think, consciousness expansion, so after all of this, right, we've got so much data, so many great science and studies and products, but ultimately, right, it's like going back into our true essence, our true nature, and repatterning, who we are, who do we want to be. And, this is why we put such a huge emphasis in our events on breathwork, meditation, sound healing, dance, moving into the rhythm. And essentially, these are all magical tools that are now available everywhere, but taking that time, for yourself, unhooking from this busy world, removing from the fear so you can go into empowerment. And, I use this a very simple 4-step process, which I think it actually matches so well with your message, with the detox protocols or cleansing. And basically, step 1 that can be applied to anything in your life is waking up. You got to get a set of data, what is working, what is not. This could be your physical body. Maybe you get a blood test and you're high on environmental toxins, you're low on vitamin D. You got to have a starting point to bring these things to the surface. It could also be as simple as your relationships, your career. What is your thoughts like, because if we keep on thinking that, we are not worthy of, we can, we won't, well, guess what? You won't. and it's, the mind is the software, the body is the hardware. And just like a computer, right? We got to connect to the internet instead of internet. So that way we can download these new, insights to our life. Now, after you wake up, you bring it to the surface, you clean up. You got to get rid of the toxins. You got to get rid of things that don't work. Got to get rid of the negative mind. So that way you can power up, which is the 3rd phase. And this is when you supplement vitamin D. You bring new ideas, new relationships. You essentially, you bring, you mitigate your house. Like you go into an offense where you start taking charge of the driver's seat that we're meant to, instead of giving the control out, to the external. And then the final step is rest up and repeat this cycle, throughout the life. I always say there is no such thing as mastery. The minute you think you've mastered something, there's a whole next set of lessons that are waiting for you. And the resting up, I call it the process of unhooking, where once a day, the first hour of the day, I don't touch the cell phone. I'm just with myself doing my morning routine, visualize the day in front of me, light exercise, breath work, whatever that is for you. That's like the golden hour. Once a week, I take full day off and I detox my body. I don't eat. I spend the first half of the day just on my own before I introduce family and friends. Because if we don't spend time on our own, how do we know who we are? We constantly live somebody else's vision and ideas and agendas. And so once a month, I take 4 days completely off. I retract from the digital world, physical world, everything. So that way, again, I can reassess my past month. I can cultivate, the following month. And once a year, I spend 10 days in darkness, but it doesn't have to be to this full extent. It could be 10 to 15 day vacation, go into nature, spend time without computers and phones. Because what I've learned, if I follow this cycle, those shifts are not so dramatic. I feel like I'm in charge of my life, and life is made up of your choices and consequences, but the consequences have delay. And sometimes we have to zoom out enough so we can actually see where these choices were made, so we can understand and take the power back to change them.
That's really powerful. That is, you do half of those things, you're going to be a changed person. To step back and get off the wheel that, it's grinding is so powerful. How do they get a hold of you? What's your website address?
So it's noaaon.com, NOAAON.com. And Noah Aon Official for social media. We post a whole bunch of free value content, education. And we'll also add the links into the EMF webinar. And one thing I would love to give, we have on-demand library with breathwork, meditation, with all of these different recordings. So we'll send that as a gift with this show as well.
Excellent. Yeah, we could do 3 shows, I think, today. And I know you got to go. You've got a family thing you got to take care of. So I certainly appreciate your time. We'll have you back. We'll talk more about some of the other things, because I've got some more curiosity about all of that, as because you got a pretty in-depth website there, a lot of things you do, and I really appreciate what you're doing to help change the world. I mean, alone in this EMF, just that free stuff is gold, guys. So thank you for being here with us today. I so appreciate having you on. And like I said, guys, you've been listening to the Whole Body Detox Show, and I'll put this all in the show notes. But I'm David DeHaas from Living Waters Wellness Center, where miracles begin by healing from within. Until next week, my friends, have a blessed week.
Well, we had a lot more to share with Pavel, and we did that over on the podcast, wholebodydetoxshow.com. You get the rest of the information we shared there. All the information about how to get these amazing devices will be put there. Or you can call the office at 208-3789-911 or check out our website. And check out our healing retreat coming up. You too can get your health miracle. All we got to do is cleanse the body, your gut, your second brain. My friends, get it working. You will heal the body naturally. Learn that at the website, livingwaterscleanse.com, or call the office at 208-3789-911. Till next week, have a blessed week, my friends. Once in a lifetime, a healing tool comes across your path that can really change the ability for the body to heal naturally and quickly. We have found such a tool, and it has changed the way my family lives and how our clients at Living Waters are helping to heal their body. It's called phototherapy, and phototherapy is the ability of your body using waves of light to turn on your body's ability to make its own stem cells. No surgeries, just simply a little Band-Aid size patch that can activate your body to make stem cells. As you age, you're producing less and less stem cells, and by age 60, you're making none. So when it comes to healing and repairing, it is a long process. We can now speed that process up by using phototherapy. Go over to stemcellpatch.net and watch the videos there. And go ahead and try these patches for a few months. These patches have helped so many of our clients reverse pain, help speed up the healing, sleep better, and on and on. You'll see some of the testimonials over there. It's an amazing little tool that you should be using right now. For less than the cost of a cup of coffee per day, you can now be increasing your body's ability to make the stem cells on its own. Stemcellpatch.net, or call the office at 208-3789-911.
You can't treat the body and heal it a piece at a time. You have to treat the whole body naturally. That's why Living Waters Wellness Center 10-day healing retreat is so successful in helping what I call the incurables back to wellness. Here's what a few clients had to say about their experience at Living Waters Wellness Center.
For over a year, I've been dealing with gas pains, stomach pains that have been waking me up in the middle of the night, so I never get a full night's rest. And last night, after my first colonics, I slept through the entire night without any stomach pain or any kind of issues.
I suffered from migraine headaches for 12 years, once a month. And since I did the 10-day retreat at Living Waters Wellness Center 8 years ago, I have not even had a migraine. I've not even had a headache.
I had back pain on my left side for about 25 years. After the 10-day healing retreat, the pain is completely gone.
To learn more about the 10-day healing retreat, go to healingtheincurables.com or call the office at 208-378-9911. That's 208-378-9911. The preceding examples may not be typical of your experience and may not be right for you. Seek the opinion of a qualified healthcare professional before determining if cleansing is right for you.